think you need to create some problems, especially if Ben and Annalee happen to be stacked. So that would be the first thing I'd start with, and you can always control how aggressively you serve, so setting yourself up for something like that.
Side out.
This is that one there. As for Ben and Annalee, they're the gold standard of mixed doubles. What is the biggest thing to be admired on their side up to this point? Ooh. Shot of survival. We talked about ripping it and gripping it. Rohrabacher and Khlif instigating first.
Yep, Rachel just going full send at Ben there.
1-0-1.
That's how to protect your chin. Boy, rare miscommunication just briefly there between Annalee and Ben stabbing at it a lot more than he wanted there at the last second, causing the major pop-up. But to answer your question, Michelle, Ben and Annalee, there's so much you could say about them with their attacking and so forth, but something that I feel is a little bit overlooked when you play against them, especially in earlier rounds like this, is there's not really any one great place to return.
2-0-2.
I've played against them in mixed once or twice, and one of the hardest things for me was to decide, would I rather return to Ben or would I rather return to Annalee? Because basically pick your poison. They're both bad options. And we have a nice exchange here. It's a good scramble.
Oh, Waters finally testing away Khlif. Love the scramble there from Rohrabacher in the middle, to your point. But yeah, that's a great point by you, obviously, having that experience. But yeah, pick your poison.
Yeah, just because Annalee bakes so well off of thirds, so if Ben's driving aggressively, she's such a threat up at the front of the court. But then on the flip side of that, if you decide to return to Annalee, she's got a very dangerous drive herself, and then you have Ben crashing off of that, and certainly she has aggressive drop options as well. So there's really no great option against them, and I think that's kind of an overlooked thing, where if you can't even stop them from getting forward and creating offense, then you're starting already down in the match before you even get to the kitchen line.
2-2-1. Second serve.
And of course, the commentator curse.
Happens to the best of us.
2-2-2.
2-2-2.
Point.
And I do think Noah's going to have to take some risks like that. The two-handed attack is something he's added this year. He didn't really have much of that when he came on the scene last year, so he's really trying to develop some different spots to cause problems.
There's a two-handed speed-up sequence from Rachel Rohrabacher. What's the art to perfecting that shot in your estimation?
So the two-hander by No Way, I think that initially he's going after it pretty aggressively, and certainly it's good to try to rob him of reaction time. He's going to have to find some better spots to hit it, because if you hit it one speed, even if you're changing the direction left, right, the best players are going to be on that. So learning how to develop a little bit variety with how much he puts pace versus spin, and then of course mixing that with direction as well as height, that really keeps the top players off balance.
That was a rocket setup from Ben Johns. Stays patient. Patience, for me, with Ben is one of his secret weapons. He just waits it out longer than anyone else ever will for the right moment to strike.
Yep, and that was one of those rare cases where Annalee was trying to handle a tough serve out of the stack, and Ben recognizing that, moving across to protect her.
It is up, and it is on the baseline. How volley Ben protects.
It's kind of funny, this does happen quite a bit because Annalee's so aggressive and they end up switching sides. And in that formation, I think the teams actually need to discuss, if this does happen and Ben's on the right and Annalee's on the left, how do we want to approach this pattern at the kitchen line? Because it does happen at least 3-4 times a match.
How would you approach it?
I would actually approach that in a way that's a bit counterintuitive. I would actually hit to Ben's corner, where you would target his forehand, not exclusively, of course, but he typically tries to hang out in the middle. He's like magnetically attracted to the left side, it seems. So he's looking to flick a backhand from the middle, and he really shrinks the court. And there's really nowhere good to go with Annalie's two-hander being her best shot.
Point,
You're just not able
6-1.
to squeeze the ball to any spot that bothers them. The most open space in that particular formation is to Ben's corner.
To see just then. Well, we will see you after this match in the booth with Adam. Thanks so much, Dave, for joining us. Mish, let's get back to the action.
7-2-1.
Cam, Dave, Matt, thanks so much. Great insight there as always. Back on the call with Colin Johns, the eldest brother of Ben Johns on the courts, and the Johns family taking the pickleball world by storm. And missed a point there. What did you see?
8-2-1.
Yeah, they're just going to have to slow down this onslaught from Ben and Annalie, because if they're playing this confident and attacking this much, they're just going to start to play better and better, and there's really no way to stop that freight train once it starts. So Noe struggling with some attacks down his line, so Ben targeting high outside shoulder, and then Annalie following suit, getting the winner down the line. So Noe, not that he's protecting the middle too much, I just think that he hasn't seen those particular attacks all that much in mixed doubles. Yeah, when Ben's using that old school one-hander off the bounce attack, that's a bad sign for opposing teams. He doesn't usually bring that out of the garage unless he's feeling ultra confident.
Keep that in mind.
Point.
Yeah, when he starts bringing that one out and the banana flips with the backhand roll, it's time
10-2-2.
to maybe pack your bags.
Nail it in. Game point quick for Waters and Johns.
And there it is again.
Point.
Through the
Game,
middle
11-2.
and
Timeout
right on
again.
cue, as Colin predicted. Ben and Annalie on top in this one, 11-2. Game one falls on their side, seeking gold in Cincinnati with a grand. You'll have to get down to coach after this. Colin?
Game
Yes,
two.
coaching duties
Time in.
for Anna will come into
0-0-2.
play as soon as I finish here.
Sure she's thrilled with taking on these commentator shifts.
Side out.
Yesterday I had no choice because I had to excuse myself. She was playing Tina, so probably better I was up here.
0-0-1. Second serve.
Speed up there for Ben, gets robbed off the tape. Second serve for Waters and Johns.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, when you're returning, the thirds are
0-0-2.
just so tough and the pressure applied on fifths. It really feels like Ben and Annalie are always serving when you play them in mixed. It feels like they have 3 or 4 serves and you're getting one.
Yeah.
Just because they put so much pressure in transition, they don't miss a lot of thirds. And on the flip side of that, they're very good at keeping you off the
0-0-1.
line. So when the math is really not in your favor, it's just so difficult to win.
Ooh, wild one from Ben. Point the other way. Once they go back to serve, I'd love to dive into that pressure live in a point where you can show us what that pressure looks like in transition from
Second
Ben
serve.
and Annalie.
Yeah, I think that last rally, not the missed serve, but the previous rally was a great example of that. Even though they ultimately
1-0-2.
did get up to the line, Ben was applying pressure with 5 or 6 shots before that to where he's making it extremely difficult for you to get in. And that just wears on you over the course of a match. And here we are in this formation again. Let's see if they play Ben's corner.
Side
That's
out.
where I feel like it's a mistake to try to play to Annalie's corner, because Ben shrinks the court so much. He's basically straddling the center, and then you're playing to one of the most lethal shots in the game, Annalie Waters' two-handed backhand. So there's really nowhere to go in that situation.
Second serve.
When you say Ben's corner, remind us what that looks like for the rep player watching at home.
So into Ben's corner in that
0-1-2.
particular formation, when they're switched, he's playing the right side. So getting the ball over to his forehand side, forcing him to move out of that central position where he's trying to control with his backhand.
1-0-1.
And there's Noe's big drive. Definitely a weapon, but effectively neutralized. And That's yet another thing that makes Annalee and Ben so tough. They stick drive counters as well as anybody. They're not very vulnerable to shake and bake and aggressive plays, driving flows. So it really slows down the opponent's offense, and they force you to really bide your time. You can see they didn't make the kitchen line either one of those possessions, and now they have 2 serves coming up, and it feels like they're going to be serving forever.
0-1-1.
So walk us through that pressure here again, and then follow-up question for you there as well.
Second serve.
But when you're being driven at as heavily like Veolia does, curious where the best place to put the volley is, the best way to approach defending pace.
Point.
No way with a better counter there, getting the counter down at least, but Annalee able to follow up well enough to tie up Rachel. So on the drive counter volleys, you need to treat it actually more like when you're countering at the kitchen line, when somebody's positioned closer. Just because people are covering so much space and putting so much pressure on that next ball, you are vulnerable. Even if you stick a good drive counter deep, it ends up right in the strike zone of the player who's more advanced. So getting the ball to the sides of the court, certainly easier said than done when you're trying to handle a world-class drive, but getting it down to the edges of the court typically slow down those drive opportunities, and especially the coaching opportunities.
Is there a depth preference there as well?
So depending on the height of where you're making contact, you definitely can play with the depth a little bit, but generally these days you want to get your drive counter around mid-court, maybe even shorter than that, so that people can't poach off of those, especially in men's doubles where the guys cover so much space laterally. You really can't get away with deeper volleys. They just, he almost came up with that. Yeah, you just can't afford to risk hitting the ball through the kitchen zone or beyond it at a height where somebody can capitalize on it.
Point.
Johns weaponizes the play once again.
Yeah, is it just me, or does it feel like they get 3 serves?
It does. Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's just drinking out of a fire hose is my favorite comparison with these two. Waters poaches ambitiously. Right side Ben. Still anchored to the middle, but finds a way.
Relentless pressure. It's just such a tough spot to be. I don't know that there's a great answer for Rachel and Noe, but clearly they're just getting tap danced all over, as Dave Fleming would say.
Retreating.
Yeah, give it back to him a little bit, Noe. I don't want to butcher any of Dave's sayings. I think it's tap danced on or something to that effect.
Yep, you are correct. Hope we have a Shankopotamus here soon.
Three, 1-2.
That's a much better drive counter from Rachel, not allowing Annalee to be aggressive on that follow-up.
What a sequence for Waters. Didn't end up in their favor, but...
It was a great read. Definitely not quite as comfortable when she has to take that second hand off the paddle, so the Ernie move was great. If she had just gotten a little bit more extension and snap on that Ernie, she definitely would have moved away.
1-3-1.
And here, Ben's just not satisfied with hitting average shots. He's not going to let you in easily. And now you've had to hit 5 or 6 tough balls, and mentally that wears on you. By the time you get to the kitchen line, you're like, can I just get a break for a second? And
1-3-2.
Then he's there to attack again.
Side out.
Is it as much the location where Ben's targeting the pace, the spin, everything?
It's a little bit of everything. Certainly he holds it very well, and he also gauges when he should be pressuring out of the air versus off the bounce. So that's a really critical skill that I think that's also a little bit overlooked.
Point, touch.
And Ben
Second serve.
That one got his butt cap, so good sportsmanship.
3-1-2.
Parents would approve.
We hear the grandparents are making an appearance here in Cincy.
Indeed they are. But yeah, the last time the grandparents were at an event was actually Florida. They happened to be down there for Cape Coral, so they got to watch a match or two. But they were actually here 2 years ago when Ben and I won Ben's 100th PPA title.
That's awesome.
And they were in the stands for that, so that was pretty special. That's great hands.
Oh, couldn't get the butt cap that time. Big fan.
He was going for it. Ben wisely tucking the paddle out of the way that time.
I have to admit, the butt cap is new terminology for me.
1-3-2.
Was not aware that that was a part of the paddle. No way.
Unbelievable defense.
Oh, no. Can't miss that one, Waters. Wanted it.
She wanted it after all that phenomenal defense she played.
Man.
Barely missing it. But those are the sort of exchanges I was looking forward to seeing a little bit more of, where Rachel's actually dinking sharply cross court with Annalie. And then she's going to try to make something happen, whether it be a speed up or a lob or change of direction. But we just haven't seen a whole lot of that with Ben and Annalie dictating most of the match.
Side out.
And that's that drive counter, even though that was going out, and he, in theory, should have left it. It's sort of an example of that depth I was talking about, where Noe's trying to drive and crash, so making sure you angle the drive counter down to his feet rather than letting it drift to where it would still go in, but it would go deeper, and thus allowing Noe more aggressive opportunities when he's closing.
And in order to angle it down to the feet, where must your paddle be? If you're Ben and Annalie, obviously pro level, just asking for the rec players watching out there.
Yeah, certainly depends on the height you're making contact, but for that particular one, Ben just closed the paddle face using his wrist, so simply orienting the wrist, not changing the grip. But that's something that's a little bit lost on the average rec player, to where there are really two ways to get the ball to go down. You can either swing the paddle down or you can tilt the paddle down. And when you have not very much time to react, it's a lot faster to tilt the paddle. Your wrist can close faster than you can physically swing the paddle down. So Ben did a great job of that when he's reacting to Noe's drive, and you'll see that a lot at the kitchen line when you have split seconds to react. You definitely want to make the most of how you can react most quickly.
Bring that with me to my rec games. No, thank you.
A nice fill by Rachel there. Noe having to hold his line from earlier in the match, where Annalie had burned him down the line, but Rachel filling the middle nicely.
Yeah, Rachel Rohrabacher, fierce competitor. Made a final in mixed.
Fault.
Foot faults. I think the paddle.
You two touched each other with the volley.
When two becomes one is the rule here. And Ben is challenging it. Howard Hepworth, our lead referee for this one. Ben is challenging. The rule here would be Annalie inching her way in if they can both pay it off here. Here's Howard.
After review, the result of the rally stands. The players became one when they touched each other during the volley before the momentum ended, and the paddle touched in the non-volley zone. The point is awarded. Lost of the free challenge. You have no free challenge remaining. One free challenge remaining. Resume play at 3-5-1.
Well, kudos to our referees for catching that. That is definitely a rare catch. I don't recall Ben ever being called on that in the past, but it was indeed the correct call.
Some comedic relief there for the crowd.
We're learning all sorts of things today. Two becomes one, the butt cap.
I want to see more butt cap tags. Oh, that's one way to do it. The net spoils it for us all.
I suggest a lot more of those from Rachel.
4-5-1.
let cord.
Second serve.
Didn't count, though. Second serve for Noe Khlif and Rachel Rohrabacher.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, taking advantage of breaks like that, where you get a let cord, you get a call in your favor, that can really sort of turn the momentum in your favor, at least make sure it's not with Ben and Anna-Leigh anymore. So making the most of this little run that they're having would be very important in the second game. Beautiful lob.
Good.
Such good defense, measured, not going for too much on any one ball.
Side out.
That's something that I feel like a lot of amateur players, lower level rec players don't do all that well. When they're on defense, they try to hit one phenomenal shot when they're very off balance to try to get back in the rally, whereas you saw Anna-Leigh there, she hits 4 or 5 measured ones that were incrementally better to where she's not really taking a ton of risk on a difficult shot, and she eventually gets the air anyway.
Well, I was just going to ask about that, because sometimes it doesn't seem like she's perfectly balanced, but how does she get there after this point? Like, grinding it out. Oh!
Bounce. Side out.
What a play.
Smart shot to where you can't put the ball away against them when they're scrambling at the back of the court. When the ball is soft and mushy on a day like this, the drop volley actually does work quite well, especially if you cut it cross court nicely like Noe did there. And Noe just frozen, understandably. He doesn't know where Anna-Leigh's going with that. She steps around to the outside of the court, and she can really go anywhere with that. And I think Rachel was kind of sitting on the inside-out roll, which Anna-Leigh also owns. So it's not an enviable position to be in on the receiving end.
Side out.
A quick side out for Waters and Johns. They were pushed earlier.
5-4-1.
Just about a little bit. Junior Keenan and Augie Gutt put up a good fight in round 32 in game 1. In defense, Ben throws up a lob, second serve.
5-4-2. Side out.
But getting back to Anna-Leigh's defense a little bit, you were asking about how she plays such good defense when she's off balance.
4-5-1.
A lot of it, of course, is experience in those sort of situations. But if you notice, she actually scrambles very well when she's not making contact perfectly in front. So this in and of itself is a skill to where you can expand your contact zone and be able to play defense not just in front of you, but also behind you. Very close to being out. I think they might give it a challenge.
It's worth it. I thought that might have been deep, but what a play by Rachel Rohrabacher.
Yeah, nice step in there. She didn't let that ball bounce. Very easily could have, and was able to be aggressive as a result.
Side out.
It was in top corner of her screen. Yeah.
Okay,
what a sequence to tie it at 5 for Rohrabacher. Off the tape.
Point.
That's part of the thing that I think is really cool about pickleball. The ball is so low impact and the paddle is so light and maneuverable. You can actually create different contact zones that would not be possible in other situations. Obviously, if you're on something like a tennis court, the racket's a lot heavier, the ball is much greater impact. Hitting the ball behind you is not really something that is possible. So in pickleball, it's quite different. You see people half volley the ball behind them quite frequently.
Oh, finally a let cord back the other way. But to your point there, the different contact points for Anna-Leigh Waters. Other players on tour could do what she does, taking it a little bit more behind her, and it wouldn't look as smooth or effective. Like, why is she different?
Yeah, definitely having the court sense that she has. Of course, it's going to be very exciting to see the rest of the day.
Can
only wait to see that one. Then it's women's doubles. As Dave was mentioning at the desk, Rohrabacher and Jansen teaming up as the 3 seed against the Kawamoto sisters.
Point.
I always find it entertaining when the Kawamoto sisters play together because
Agreed.
they're a sister duo that doesn't always play together, and I think that's probably a good decision in their case. They say that if they play together too much, then they kind of get irritated with each other, and definitely it's a bit different playing with a sibling. We have a bird alert from Annalie Waters, kind of laughing about that one. Very nice read. Who says she can't go to the one-hander when necessary?
Right.
9-5-1.
Oh, that's pretty filthy. No way, thinking there's no way Ben can keep that ball in from that low. But Ben recognizing what he was about to do, to where it's not likely I'm going to keep this in, but if I take enough pace off and I hit it at that height, I actually can.
Match point here for Johns and Waters. Second serve, match point number 2. Ben never satisfied, not thrilled with that one.
10-5-2.
The ability to get back to neutral in that rally, and then ultimately attack.
Win
it's crazy.
The match. 11-2, 11-5. Ben and Annalie hunting for gold in Grand Slam territory. It will be number 53 for them together as a team. We'll step aside. Matt and Cam will.
Welcome back to the Veolia Cincinnati Showcase. Waters and John solidify their spot into the semifinals in 2.
Yeah, no shock there. Waters Johns moving on to tomorrow's semifinal. Rohrabacher, Khlif played it very well, in my opinion. No way on the 5s with Annalie Waters. She knows what to expect against him, straight ahead. A lot of great hand battles in that matchup, but in the end, too good from the number 1 seed. There's no shock. It seems every single week they're in a semis, finals, and then winning the title. And it's probably going to happen here in Cincinnati.
I think so too. Welcome to the Pickleball TV desk. Cameron Blackwood alongside Matt Manassi. And sometimes there's slower starters coming into this progressive draw here, and you're not playing all day long. You really just got to step on and perform. How different is that for them? And do you think they can still execute either way how the tournament lays out?
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's traditional all day long or your progressive draw. They come in and they do their work. In the past, sure, we've seen Ben slower starts, not this tournament and not in the recent history. He's not even slow getting to the desk. He's pretty quick. So he's right here, and they did a great job today, as always.
I know usually we're waiting on Ben. Congratulations to you guys. Annalie, I'm going to start with you. You're playing on the other side, of course. Khlif, which is your former New Jersey Fives teammate there. I know you played alongside Will Howes, but you got a lot of practice time against Khlif. Did that help going into this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, it helps and it hurts because he obviously gets a lot of practice time against me. But, yeah, I think we were both maybe a little less loud in the match than we would normally be just because – you know, we're friends now and we're on the same team, so trying to keep the peace. But, no, yeah, I mean, obviously knew a little bit more about him than before. I think Ben and I played him earlier this year, and it was a lot closer because we hadn't seen his game before. So I definitely think knowing people's tendencies helps a lot.
Ben, your brother Colin was commentating the match, so we heard a lot of technical talk. I wanted to ask you about your backhand reset off the bounce, the drop as well. I just find it's one of the best shots that really you have mastered compared to others. Can you talk us through how you get to such perfection on that shot?
I mean, it's a lot of reps. It's a lot of drilling. We've done a lot of stuff on the court together, so it's just primarily repetition. There's some mechanics stuff. Sometimes you need to change things based on conditions or just upgrading kind of mechanics. So,
is there one mechanical thing for those at home that are starting out that they should pay attention to?
Stop using your wrist.
Fair enough. Annalie, 1-3-2 in the second game. You had an unbelievable defensive point. Noe coming at you like 5 or 6 times. You got every ball back. That last one sat on your forehand. You tried to get him up the line. First of all, how are you getting all those balls back? And does it hurt to miss that last ball?
Yeah, it really hurts, but at least it was in my hands. You know, I think I would have been more upset if he had hit like one of those winner overheads past me, but I think it's just anticipation. I kept running to the side earlier in the match thinking he was going to angle, hit the overhead, because that's what a lot of guys do. They just angle it off, and he kept going middle, so I was like, all right, I'm just going to stand here for this one, and he kept hitting them at me, and I was just like reacting. So then I got the ball that I wanted and got too excited.
Colin was actually talking on the court about how he thinks you probably do stuff in the gym, off-balance type work to make sure you get it on the court. Is that true, or are you doing anything?
I mean, yeah, but I'm not. I think Colin's hyping me up a little bit more than it actually. It's just a lot of like simple movements. You got to get the basics down before I start getting crazy.
I love it. I want to go to a highlight here towards the end of the match. You had a Burt, which is obviously an
one-y flick.
A one-y flick Burt, which is an earning on the opposite side. We have it here for you.
I'm excited
Talk us
to
through
watch this.
how you got this shot and your feeling
Yeah, I actually
afterwards.
overran this ball, so I had to hit the one-y, and then I was really excited afterwards. I'll be talking about that shot for the next couple months probably, just because I never hit one-ys, and this is kind of a Burt. I jump there.
Look at that,
It's a little more unathletic than I thought in the moment, but it worked. So.
I think it looks great. Any tips to her, Ben?
Ben hits that shot a lot.
Or do you need tips from her?
I mean, I thought it was pretty exemplary, really. She jumped higher and further than I thought. Maybe the only thing is you could jump further instead of higher. Because she was so high, it was like, oh, there's the ball down there.
I didn't realize my...
you had so much more ups than you thought.
I know. Only I jumped that high on my overheads.
We don't have many slams throughout the year, but this is one of them. Ben, is there any added pressure coming in knowing there's 2,000 points on the line?
I'll be honest, I found out it was a slam, not a cup, 3 days ago when you guys said it. Yeah.
Wow,
so
okay, here on the desk.
Thanks for the pressure, Cam. I appreciate that.
No problem.
I was all in like, it's a cup. We're good. We're chilling. Now it's like,
Ben
it's a
doesn't
slam.
know what he's doing the next day. So.
So is there added pressure when you guys come into a slam versus cups?
I mean, when you say it, maybe, but we're playing the same people. So when you're actually out on the court playing these matches, you're like,
It's all the same matches. Yeah,
it's like the same. We play usually there's some top core mixed doubles teams that we play a lot in the semis and finals, and we know their games very well. So I think it feels like every PPA Tour tournament kind of. That might be bad, but
no, I don't think so. I think it makes you relax throughout the whole tournament.
Yeah.
So, well, congratulations to you guys. Ben Johns, Annalie Waters moving on to the semifinals tomorrow. Good luck, guys.